start off our third session, we will begin with Peter Geleta, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Trinity Metals Group. He'll make the case for the Trinity projects across Rwanda. Peter has 40 years of experience in mining all around the world, previously leading the FTSE 250 listed gold miner Acacia Mining and leading Barrick Gold's operations in Africa. So I'll hand over to Peter now.
Should I wait for everybody to come back? All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm not sure how many of you have been to Rwanda. I know there are a few people I've seen in the audience that have been to Rwanda before. Today I'm going to talk about Rwanda and the opportunities of mining in Rwanda. And I'm going to talk about the Trinity Mining Group, which is really a new company with old operations. The operations have been going for many years, but the Trinity Group is very new and probably not well known to anybody. We joined the International Tin Association 3 months ago, and I thought I would take this opportunity to introduce the company. We're very well known in Rwanda as Rwanda's biggest mining company, and I think we have a unique opportunity to take this company to something special. And Rwanda, I believe, from a mining perspective, is a sleeping giant. So really, Rwanda's metal sector is poised for significant growth in future. When you look at Rwanda, there's been mining taking place in Rwanda for many, many years, from the Belgian colonial days. In fact, I believe the Belgians in those days were the biggest tin supplier to Europe in the early days. After colonial time, the country nationalized all the assets and ran these assets, but mainly as small-scale artisanal mining. And they really never put any investment into these assets. In 2015, or just after 2011, they actually opened it up to international investment and started privatizing the mining industry. But because of the lack of exploration and knowledge of Rwanda as a mining destination, very few investors actually came into the country. And the small-scale mining really continued. And many of the licenses and concessions at that stage were given over to, I guess, people that were connected within the sort of government. And these guys got concessions and continues with this artisanal mining practices. And there was no investment went into these concessions. So Trinity is the biggest mining company in Rwanda, and we've actually leading the transition towards a mechanized, modernized mining industry in Rwanda. And that actually puts us in the sort of pole position to pick up a lot of other concessions as the country modernizes their mining, which is certainly their ambition at the moment. So where did Trinity Metals come from? After 2 years of negotiations between the government in Rwanda and the shareholders of Tinco and Paran, an agreement was reached to merge the two companies, and Trinity Metals was born in May of last year. And this incorporated the merger of Nyakabingo mine, which is a tungsten mine, Rutongo mines and Musha mines, which are tin mines. And the Trinity was merged. I want to talk about initially, the Tinco was formed in 2010 when there was investments made from the Ikovich company in the early days. Tinco eventually became Trinity in May 22, and Paran which is Musha mine, was incorporated. I was the new CEO that was appointed in May, the first CEO of the company, and my mandate from the board, and which is really represented from all the shareholders, was to get this company up to a listed company standard. And I'll show you the progress we've made over the last 18 months. The first thing we really need to do was put a proper business plan in place, which didn't exist. These assets suffered tremendously from a lack of investment for many, many years. And in fact, this was just also coming out of the COVID era, where actually these mines were basically on care and maintenance. We had to look at the way the mine was being mined, because it was still really artisanal mining style mining, which I'll go into just now, and optimize the mining model. We had to establish a solid leadership group to take the company forward, and we had to develop a growth strategy. And I'll talk a little bit about lithium, which is really very much part of our growth story. We have a strong board in place. We put a board in place immediately. All the investors are represented on the board. This is our board. I'll point out a few of them, just Brian Manel, who is our major investor is TechMet, and many of you would have heard of TechMet. It's a investment fund. They're looking at critical minerals with strong US backing. They won $1 billion fund, and they are a major shareholder. But you also would have heard of Adonis Parolis with Paran. They also been mining in Africa for many, many years. So a strong board. And we also have the government of Rwanda as a shareholder, a 5% shareholder in the company. This is the leadership team. So we put the leadership team together. Proudly, 75% of the leadership team is Rwandan. All our general managers and all our sites are Rwandan. And then we have an experienced support team to help these general managers deliver what they need to deliver. So when you look at the geology in Rwanda, it's very much a country that's been unexplored. Very little drilling has taken place. The World Bank sponsored a airborne survey campaign, I think in the year 2000. But that was never actually published. The results were never published, and I believe they never actually completed the survey. So it's very difficult to get data. But one thing for sure, in the region, it's rich with pegmatites and tin, tantalum, tungsten, and lithium intrusion, which I will show you now. Our three primary sites are Rutongo. We've got a huge concession, 9,600 hectares. A lot of it has been unexplored and still is got huge potential. We've got a mining license for 25 years. The estimated life of mine at this stage is 35 years, and that's only in the areas we're mining now. We employ 2,500 people, and we mine tin. Current production, in fact, our November production is 74 tons, so we've done really well this month. And we're going to get production up to 200,000 tons per annum by the year 2028. We've got plans to do that. At Musha, also a long life mine, 1,400 people. There we have tin, tantalum, and lithium potential, which I'll talk about just now. Currently, in fact, this month we got 35,000 kilograms. At Nyakabingo mine, which is a Wolfram mine, 48 years life of mine. And current production levels at 90,000 kilograms. Also going to get up to 200,000 kilograms per annum by the year 2027. When you look at the global supply of the three Ts and Rwanda, in 2022 was 950 tons. That number has increased. Nyakabingo mine actually produces 90% of Rwanda's tungsten, and is also the biggest tungsten producer in Africa. 2,400 kilograms of tin gets produced every year, and we produce about half of that from our two mines. And then 110 tons of tantalum. We're not producing any tantalum at this stage, but we will be doing so in future. So when we started the company, we had to look at how we're going to get this to a stage where we could list the company. And we put the four strategic pillars together. One is the business. We needed to understand what the business capability is. We put in 5-year rolling business plans. We've improved the technical capability by building a strong technical team. A lot of that technical team, we're using technical consultants because these mines were really run as artisanal mines in the past, and we've had to change that. Efficient capital allocation and cost management, and then we really need to build credibility. The production in the past was up and down. We had to deliver a plan and build the credibility so we could attract investors. Huge focus on people. If we think about the workforce, 98% are Rwandans, not highly skilled. These guys all are used to artisanal mining. We have to transition them into mechanized and modern mining practices. So that requires a lot of training. So a lot of big focus on our people pillar. Relationships. Our license to operate, very, very important. So make sure we have all the community supporting us, the government supporting us as one of our major shareholders, and then international standards application for ESG. We are working very closely to try and secure funding from the DFC. Big help is through TechMat, who already have DFC equity. And we are on track, hopefully, to next year secure funding from the DFC. And obviously, that requires ESG excellence, and we're working towards that. And then, of course, we have to have a compelling plan for the future. You know, we have very, very large concessions that have been relatively unexplored. So that provides us with a huge opportunity. There's also huge opportunities in Rwanda amongst a lot of concessions that are being held by concession holders that aren't investing. And there's a lot of pressure now from government for those guys to relinquish the concessions, and then they will become available to the companies like ourselves who can pick them up. Ntunga lithium development. We'll talk about that just now, but that is could potentially be the game changer for the company. And then, unfortunately, the company does not have a reserve and resource statement. We have a resource estimate, but we're working now very hard to build a competent persons report and a reserve and resource statement using external sources, because that's a requirement if we want to list. We've embedded a strong safety culture. You can see the improvement there over the last 12 months, and really a 0.63 lost time injury frequency rate compares favorably to any international company. Keep in mind, the size of our workforce, we employ 6,300 people. A lot of them come from the local communities around where we work. A lot of these guys were previously artisanal miners. We're converting them into proper contractor miners. So it's taken a lot of effort and commitment to do this. I will say, having worked across many, many countries, and in Africa, many countries, I have never met such a committed workforce that you will find in Rwanda. Most hardworking people, committed people with tremendous pride. So we've been able to achieve more in the last year in Rwanda than I've ever been able to achieve anywhere else in 5 years in terms of change management. So tremendous pride, and it really stems from the top and the way the country's led. So really, advantages of operating there, or our competitive advantages, really is we've got a very strong, committed team. We have assets that are underdeveloped, they've been underinvested, but that provides us with a huge opportunity. If we come up with a proper plan, we can develop these assets and modernize them. It's also relative to say that on all our assets, where we've been mining currently, are really on the old tunnels where the Belgians used to mine. And we're only now starting to open up virgin ground at depth. So on all, and at this stage, our lowest level where we mine is about 400 meters down. And so there's huge potential down deeper. And we're putting declines down on all 3 of our mines to open up the new ground. Also, Rwanda is the biggest tungsten producer in Africa. And our mine is the biggest tungsten mine in Africa. We're also the second highest producer of tin and coltan as a country. And Rwanda produces 9% of the world's tantalum. Rwanda, I'll go on to this slide. You know, Rwanda is a fantastic place to go and invest. It's I believe, the most stable country in Africa. It's rated second place in Africa in terms of safety. It's second for ease of doing business in Africa after Namibia. Very friendly regime. You can actually register a company in Rwanda, within 3 hours. Register, doesn't cost you a cent, and you can start operating. So really, it's a country that is going places. Just in terms of our resource estimates, and keep in mind this is with an unexplored mining concession. This is just in the areas we're currently mining, based on where we were in 2012 and after depletion. We've got 81,000 tons of tin at Rutongo, still to mine. At Musha, 6,272, and at Nyakabingo, 115,502. And this excludes the Ntunga, where we're doing the drilling for tin, coltan, and lithium, and of course other exploration opportunities in country. The mining method this is where provides us with a big opportunity, because currently, because of all the artisanal mining has taken place, you've got a culture where you do narrow vein winzing and raising, and it's basically high-grade mining, and you're leaving so much behind. And the main reason why it's been left behind over the years, you don't have, we haven't had processing plants on any of our mines. So the only mineral processing that takes place is really through sluicing. So what the guys do, they mine, they handpick, and that goes and it gets upgraded into a concentrate, and that's what we sell. And with the rest, it gets dumped. There's some sluicing operations. You get about 20% recovery from that, and the rest just lies there. So a huge opportunity lies for us in the tailings across all our mines. We've got something like 10 million tons of tailings across our 3 mines that have been built up over years that is really cash lying on surface. So one of our strategies is to put mineral processing plants in place across all the mine sites, and we will be able to generate very quick cash. So we have a technical consultants working on our mineral processing strategy for our life of mine. What's the ideal mineral processing for our tailings? And you can't really call it tailings. It's run-of-mine material that's been dumped because it's hardly been processed. And then also, for the normal run-of-mine material, how are we going to process that? So that strategy will be completed by Q1 next year, and we'll start the investment of plants, introducing plants in a phased approach. This is the sort of, we're also going to be doing trial stoping. As we go deeper, we're going to stop we're going to test it out and do this kind of stoping, which is really more underhanded mining sub-level, more traditional, proper stoping. We can only really do this once you have the process plant. Otherwise, you have too much dilution and you're going to lose. So this is the thinking with the mining, changing the mining method as we go deeper, modernizing it, introducing more mechanization, and with the extra tonnage, we will push up production as long as we've got the plant working properly. Just looking at the individual mining operations, we spoke about Rutongo. We hope to get Rutongo up to 200 tons per month in the next 5 years. And that's really the base case. I think with all the other optimization that will take place on mineral processing and the mining, that's an easy ask. We could get that up to 300 tons. We've seen over the last 2 years since Trinity was formed, the investments that were made, because before then there was very little. With small investments, introduction of more modern mining methods and mechanization, we've seen a quadrupling of production, and it shows you what a little bit of investment can do. The key thing is to put in that 80 ton per hour central plant, and then we can feed it from all the various working areas. There you can see the sort of 5-year plan on production. You can see from 2022 to this year, basically almost doubled production over the last year since Trinity was formed. And you can see the steep upward curve after that. And generating cash. So 2 years ago, the company was not generating any money on any of its operations. It's now generating positive cash, able to cover all our OPEX, able to cover our sustaining capital. And the only thing we're really asking from investors is the growth capital to grow the business. The tungsten mine, very proud of this mine as our #1 mine in Africa. We don't know where it stands with regards to production on the world stage. Difficult to get information, but this is a mine, and this is again without a processing plant. The processing plant for this mine will be in place by March next year, and that'll make a huge impact to increasing the production. Again, this mine will get up to 200 tons in the next 3 years per month. There you can see again the upward trajectory of production. 2022, again, almost doubled production to the end of this year. And again, good cash flows. Musha, this was the smallest of the mines, but probably the mine with the hugest potential. Again, due to the lack of investment. But 25 years mining license and very good grades. We've been mining the upper levels for many years, and this was probably the mine with the most. I got a shock when I went there the first time because the guys were still working with wheelbarrows and taking the product out with wheelbarrows. I thought I was in the Indiana Jones movie, and that's all changing now. There's very few wheelbarrows being used now, and we've secured investment to actually put down a decline to open up the new lower areas, which will be fully mechanized. There's the decline which is commenced. You can see the decline and the standard, very, very good. We had an opening ceremony Tuesday where the government came and opened up this decline. And the HESA means a bright future. So it's all about, this is the future of the mine, which will lead to many, many years of life. Again, you can see the production increase trajectory and increase in cash flow. The lithium project, so in 2018, there was a drill program that took place where we identified lithium at Ntunga, which is on the Musha concession. And we had grades in the wall rock from 0.3 to 1%. And then in the unweathered pegmatite at a depth of 250 meters, 0.5 to 1.7. Further exploration drilling was recommended. After that, COVID hit, there was no investment. And when Trinity was born, we re-looked at this project and said, now's the time. We've got the investment. We started the drilling program on the 3rd of November, just this month, and we've completed the first drill hole, which is extremely encouraging. And it's the first time anybody has drilled below 300 meters in Rwanda. We have very, very high hopes for this project. We'll complete this deep level drilling program by the end of first quarter next year. And we sincerely hope that will help us to go into feasibility study after that. But so far, we're very encouraged by this. So when we look at Trinity and where we go to, really it's about optimizing our current mines, which are very suboptimal at this stage. So the numbers I've shown you still need to be optimized. Adding on the tailings on top of that, which is going to give us a lot of production. As I said, there's 10 million tons lying on surface, but there's also a lot of tailings lying underground that we can go back and clean out. And then the Tunga lithium, and then all these concessions that exist in the country that are really, I wouldn't say are up for grabs, but at the moment, the RMB, which is the mining ministry, and the government is under they're reviewing all the concessions, and they're looking to take concessions back where people haven't invested, and give it and provide those opportunities to people that are investing, like ourselves. So that provides us with a unique opportunity. So it's quite exciting. So just in conclusion, we're a responsible key tin, tantalum and tungsten producer in Africa, hoping to become a lithium producer as well. We have exciting growth opportunities on all our mines, especially as we go deeper and we open up the virgin areas that haven't been accessed in the past. We're also seeing as we go deeper, the grades are picking up, which is very encouraging. The lithium development will further enhance the critical focus of the business. As a first mover, capitalize on the growth opportunities in Rwanda, complete our reserve and resource statement, which is essential, and we hope to do that by Q1 next year. And then the DFC funding. The DFC is very keen on investing in Rwanda, and they're very keen on investing in us. They'll be coming to visit us in February, and we're well on our way in terms of progressing towards that investment. Obviously, helping us a lot with that is the fact that the DFC already a major shareholder in TechMet, who's our major shareholder. So really, it's about mechanizing, modernizing, and professionalizing. So I think what we have as a real advantage is that we're already producing. Even though we're not a modern mine yet, but we are modernizing, and we've made unbelievable progress in the last 18 months since Trinity was born. And we believe that you'll hear a lot about Rwanda and you'll hear a lot about Trinity in the future. Thank you.